So,
I
do you
think
guys,
personally, if you
relate with
hold any
sort of
beliefs,
religion? Atheism has been rising a lot around the world, so any reason why you think that might be?
G'day guys, today we're here at King George Square in Brisbane CBD and we're just finding out what people of Brisbane think about religion, especially how do they rationalise it.
So, I'm sure you guys have seen this around the world. Atheism has been rising a lot around the world, so any reason why you think that might be?
I guess like back in the day, like before the sort of Enlightenment, I guess the church had like more to do with everybody's lives. So kind of like most of the world was Christian, or most of the like Western world. And I guess after the Enlightenment, people started trying to dig deeper, but maybe not digging deeper into religion, maybe digging deeper into like a new belief like atheism. So like I think, in my personal opinion, because I'm Christian, right, like if you kind of dig deep into Christianity's claims and like the proof and evidence, then it's like you're kind of pretty likely to come out of it as a Christian. But yeah, I guess if you're looking, like if all you know about Christianity is like like stuff like little Bible stories and that, and you don't have any proof for it, then I guess if some like theory of evolution's coming out, then you're gonna be like, oh, that makes way more sense. Christianity's stupid. That's probably why atheism's growing.
No, I think there's like a bit more of a growing appeal to kind of, have a bit of free thought and kind of follow what you want to like pursue in your own life and kind of stuff like that. Whereas religion kind of like has a very strict set of rules where if you kind of venture into the realm of spirituality or something like that, you kind of learn a lot about yourself more than about following a kind of set of codes. Something like that.
Well, in my own understanding and my own reading, history and all this stuff, it started with Enlightenment, right? Centuries ago, all these movements started when people rely on reason alone. Okay? So they rely on everything. Everything can be solved by reason alone. That movement propagated this trend, especially in these later years, right? Now they rely, or they think that without something higher themselves, we call God, to believers like you, Muslim, me, Christian, they think they can solve everything. So by the use of reason and modernism, all right?
atheism as a whole is definitely on the rise, and it's got a lot to do with how Christianity's been slowly denigrating over the years. But what I will say is that Australia in particular, we have a lot of influence of Hinduism and Buddhism now, with a lot of new migrants coming from China and India. And I actually see this as a net positive for the country, because I feel like for the country to be able to maintain a high level of success, productivity, and general quality of life, we're going to have a spiritual base to work with. That's the reality of the situation. And atheism just isn't the way. Well, the scientific side of it's obviously incredible. Science, when it's applied in the right context, is exactly what it needs to do. But people need something deeper, and there is something deeper, obviously. Any long and sustained look into any religion or spirituality from around the world will show you that there's something there that we need to tap into. So I would like to in the future see Australia start to integrate Hinduism and Buddhism into the main culture, because it's got a lot to say about how we should treat each other and how we should interact with the world. Sorry, that was a long answer.
No, that was great, man.
Well, I think there's a double-edged sword in relation to that. One is that of the corruption and the dilution of indoctrinated religions and dogmas. But part of it, the atheism agenda as well, is also the fact about what we're experiencing at the moment as well, is like there's a whole Luciferian agenda that we're being exposed to at the moment, which is a deliberate destabilization of religion or spiritual practices. If you look at like what's happened historically in the world, as soon as there's any like tyrannical or totalitarian takeovers of countries or whatever, the first thing they do is attack spiritual practices, and that's what we sort of experienced with the lockdown, is like closing churches and stopping any spiritual practices.
Well, atheism's rising. I'm not too sure. I think a big one is probably social media. I mean, you got people staying inside all the time. You got like high entertainment. But in terms of why it's on the decline, maybe it's hard to say. I don't really know.
Because there's no like sign of any greater being. That's all.
I just don't think a lot of people see the value in church anymore. Yeah. And like in Australia, it's not. While we have religions, it's not really one that I know everyone gets together for. It doesn't happen in my family, in my friends' families. So yeah.
I mean, a lot of people's mental health has deteriorated in the past decade, and I think that like losing that belief kind of gives people like less motivation, and then having a God or something to believe in gives people motivation, and then if there's none, then what's the point of believing any?
If the belief of the society as a whole is that we should be treating each other as brothers and sisters and as equals, then that's only ever going to be a net positive on society. Even just a simple basic aspect like that. Australian culture is incredible. I was born and raised in it. Love Australia. I love the drinking culture. I love the brotherhood, the culture. But there is a spiritual aspect definitely missing. And it's missing because we're not paying attention to what Australia's real culture actually is. And the Aboriginal culture, which has been here for hundreds of thousands of years before we arrived, they nailed it. Everything about how the community will work together, how they raise the families together, if you know a little bit about Aboriginal spirituality. And it's just sad to see it all went.
Okay guys, we're 3 hours in, 8 interviews later. My legs are killing me. Oh god. But hey, we got what we wanted, we had some pretty good interviews. Some people go a bit off topic to say the least. But overall, today's been pretty good. Had quite a few productive conversations, and my social anxiety hasn't gone in the way of things too much, which is good. So yeah, I'd rate today overall as a success. Very tiring, but also worth it. Let's hope we get something out of it.